Yeah. So our next recording is like next session is purchase orders. Okay. So we have already discussed purchase orders theory. So we have basically four types of purchase orders, right? Can anyone tell what are the types of purchase orders we have? Okay. So we have basically four types and standard purchase order. Okay. Plan purchase order, blanket purchase agreement, and contract purchase agreement. Okay. So let's go and see stand purchase order. Stand purchase order, the theory we already discussed. It's like one-time document. So where you will be specifying everything. So everything means the item, price, quantity, need by date, which organization you want the item, which is sub-inventory you want the item. Okay, everything we will be specifying, and it's like one-time document. So one-time purchasing for suppliers. Okay, if it is a plan, it's like feature expectation. So we assume like in future we may get the requirement so that we will be prepared. And now itself we will be creating a plan budget like we planned and we will have the document and that is agreed with the supplier. And whenever we require the items, we simply go on release schedule releases. Okay. Against a plan purchase order, we do schedule releases and we'll receive the items. For blanket purchase agreement, it's a kind of agreement. When I say in the ending, right? Purchase order, the standard purchase order, plan purchase order, ending with order only is there, right? But if you see blanket and contract, the ending word is agreement, correct? So any kind in general also. So agreement means it's kind of duration. Between these durations, they will be having some terms and conditions. Okay. So here in Oracle, so in blanket purchase agreement and contract purchase agreement, it's kind of agreement between two persons, two organizations, like buying organization and selling organization. Okay, buying organization and selling organization. So they will be having a agreement saying that, see, we now we are creating purchase order. We are the buyers. So the buyer will say saying that. So from today onwards, maybe from this month onwards to next year, for example to the up to 2027. So whenever we have a requirements, we always go on purchase from you only. We will be releasing the releases to you and you ship the item. Okay, and we will pay the amount to you and you have to provide so discount. For example, in the market the actual price is 10,000, then you have to provide to us maybe with 2% discount or 5% discount or like some lump sum amount reduction. For example, if it is 10,000, so you have to provide to us 9,500 only, like 500 is the less. So that kind of, okay. And the terms, payment terms, it's kind of, no, I will purchase from you, you ship the product to me, okay, but I'll not pay now, I will pay after 30 days. Okay, I'll pay after 30 days. Are you okay to agree this? So these kind of terms, and you receive the product and it you have sent it and you are utilizing it. After a couple of days, it is fully not working, it is damaged, something is happened. Then what you have to do in that case? Who actually come? The seller side engineers has to come and they have to fix and they have to provide free of cost service and the warranties. Everything will be there in the agreements. Okay, everything will be there in the agreements. Okay, and suppliers, like from their side, supplier side also, when I say supplier, the seller, we actually selling the product to us. Okay, he also makes some kind of agreement saying that, see, we have agreement for 2 years, that is fine, but after 1 year, if something raw material cost is increased, the price in the market is increased, then if I sell the same price what is there now, then I won't get profit. So as per the current market price, you have to keep on change the prices. Okay, you have to keep on change the prices. So that kind of agreements they also will have with us. Okay, So this is just agreement. When it comes to blanket purchase agreement, in blanket purchase agreement, uh, we actually specify only item, which item we need. Okay, what are the items we need, but we won't specify when it is needed. And we also don't specify how much quantity we need, because we don't know in future how much quantity required. We just have some agreement amount in the header level. In the terms and conditions, you will be having some amount, agreement amount. For example, 50 lakhs, 1 crore, 2 crores, that kind of amount we will be having agreement. So during these 2 years, if I set up my agreement amount is 1 crore, then during these 2 years I can only able to release the orders for 1 crore. More than 1 crore, I cannot release. If they require, then I had again they have to modify the source blanket purchase agreement, and it is again will go for director CEO's approval. So once they approve, then again he can release the blanket releases. So against blanket purchase agreement, we create blanket releases. Okay. So these kind of settings agreements will be there in the blanket purchase agreement. So you can also have price breaks there. Okay, discounts kind of. Okay, if I purchase 100 quantity, then you have to provide certain amount of discount. For example, percentage discount, lump sum amount discount. Okay, so they can maintain. So this is blanket purchase agreement. So we have another contract purchase agreement. Okay. So see, we already discussed what is agreement in general. Now we are discussing agreements in Oracle. Oracle type of agreements. Okay. So next is contract purchase agreement. In contract purchase agreement, basically what we do, nothing. We do nothing. We just specify the agreement amount, terms and conditions. That's it. We won't even specify what is the item, what is the quantity, what is the price, nothing. Specifying line details is not applicable for contract purchase agreement. It's just an agreement saying that this much is the agreement amount. It doesn't matter what item later you procure from my side. If I have the item, I'll sell with you and you release the purchase order. That's it. But in blanket purchase agreement, we will specify the item, but we won't specify quantity. Quantity is not applicable to specify in blanket purchase agreement. Okay. But in contract purchase agreement, even specifying line details is not even applicable. Just a contract, okay, just a contract between this duration to this duration. So we'll have certain agreement amount. So they have to utilize that agreement amount and release the purchase orders. Okay, fine. Again, against contract purchase agreement, what document you will create? So we will create against contract purchase agreement. We will create standard purchase order. Again, standard purchase order will create. Okay. See, standard purchase order is again alone as an individual document. Same standard purchase order we can also link to contract agreement. Okay, fine. So that we will see. Now let's go and start with standard purchase order. Okay. So to create a purchase order, fine. Let's come to top. To create a requisition, so what setup is required? Can anyone create a purchase requisition? Any requisition, either internal or purchase. Anyone can create who actually have the application access, can able to create purchase requisition. Hmm? Come on, speak up.
Anyone with ATM, but particular internal requisition.
Anyone can create. Okay, fine. Anyone can create. So what is the main setup to create? What is the main? See, we are logged in with ABC SCM consultant, right? So the same ABC SCM SCM implementation user in real time, how it would be, the support teams will be having some common user. It's again client to client. Okay, some clients will maintain only some support user. Same support user will be using all team members, either it is 5 members or anything. So for those kind of user accounts, you won't see any username assigned in the system administrator level. Okay, in the system administrator level you won't see any user, but now for SCM implementation we have assigned some user. Okay, see, we have assigned Ram. I'm just remote. Okay, now let's go to the purchase requisition. Purchase requisition. Purchase requisition. Requisition. So what it is saying, you're not a worker. Okay, to create a purchase requisition we should be a worker. Employee should be assigned. Okay, again, to create a purchase order, what additional setup is required? Along with user assignment in the align with user assignment in the user form, what additional setup is required to create a purchase order? We clearly discussed this. It's very important. So one of the setup in the purchasing setups.
The employee assigned by the user.
Who actually create purchase orders?
PO request
Buyer.
or buyer, sorry.
Buyer, right? So everyone is not a buyer. So what it is saying, worker, because the first condition itself, it is failing. Now I'll go and assign the worker for this. I'll come again
Yes.
and we'll see. So let's go to the system administrator, security user define. Yes, ABC implementation. I'll just assign this. Okay. It's okay, fine. It is saying like this already assigned to other user. That is fine. Okay. Now go back to the purchasing responsibility. So now earlier we faced issue and when opening the requisition, now we won't face the issue. Okay. But when you open the purchase orders, earlier it was giving worker, right? Because worker itself not aware. Now it will give buyer. See, you are not set up as a buyer. Okay. So, in our example, here only Rajesh is the buyer. Remaining all these people are cannot able to create PO. All these people is not able to create a PO. Even it is a senior manager, even is a director, even though he is a CEO, they cannot create a purchase orders. If they should have such privileges, then we should assign buyer as a buyer setup. We should assign buyer setup. Here, right, one of the setup define buyers. Okay, buyer setup is mandatory to create purchase order. Any kind of purchase order, doesn't matter. All 4 types of purchase orders, right? Any kind of purchase orders to create, they should need first buyer setup. Okay, buyer setup. Fine. So now what we can do? So we have to log in with Rajesh, right? So to create purchase orders, we have to log in with Rajesh. So how many minutes left? So we have 3 minutes left. So let's do one thing. Let's connect it quickly. Okay, and we'll start with the purchase orders. Let's connect again quickly, everyone.